What's up, everyone? I'm Jody. Welcome back to our expense tracker series. So far, we've built our API to manage user and personal expenses. But today, we're leveling up by adding groups. So, right now, you can actually be able to share your expenses with your housemate, with your roommate, or whoever you stay with. Now, join me and let's dive in. Now, before we dive into this entire graph, I just want you to imagine a scenario, right? Now, imagine you are sharing rent, you're sharing groceries, or you just need to split the bill at the restaurant with anyone, right? Um, this groups feature that we're about to dive into actually allows us to better be able to do that. So, to be able to split our expenses, to categorize them, and that sort of thing. So, I just wanted you to imagine imagine that problem and then how we will tackle it. Cool. So let's dive into this diagram and have a look at it. So think of this as like this is how the database is. We've added three new tables. We've added a groups table, we've added a groups invite table, and a members table. Before I walk you through the diagram, I want you just to imagine a scenario where you have like a birthday coming up and you basically need to like send invites out for your friends to come to your party, and every invite that goes out is going to go to someone, and then once they accept the invite they basically become a member or part of the party. So think of those kind of examples, and then a group is essentially just an event. In this case it can be again our birthday is coming up, so we're going to create like a birthday group chat, for example. And then once we create a group chat we can say birthday, and then we can send invites, so we add people to our birthday party, and then whenever people accept, they basically become members or they become participants. So I want you just to imagine that real world example, because that's all this diagram is right here. So let me dive into it and show you. So we've got the user. So user is kind of, think of it as yourself. We've got a group. A group is basically just an event, kind of like, again, birthday party can be an example. Celebration can be another example. But in this actual expense tracker, our groups can be family group chat. It can be house group chat. It can be roommates group chat. It could be res group chat. So essentially, it can be, I'm saying group chat, but it's just groups. You give it a name and you say this is for family house, or this is for house 3 or 4. And if there's 10 people living in house 3 or 4, they will all be inside that group. So a user can create like as many groups as they want to, essentially, right? And then a group then kind of would have group invites. So if you want to add the users to the group and say, okay, there's 3 people that are staying with me in my house, I'm going to send individual group invites to that group for those people, right? So group invites basically like, yeah, there will be a result of people for you. It will be a result of you adding people to the group. They'll get a group invite, and then they become members as well. So a group will have many group invites and will also have many members as well. Essentially, that's basically all this diagram is. And obviously, when you send out an invite, you are like the person that invited them, or you sort of created that, you initiated that. So just a few things to note. That's what this is. User ID, it's basically the user ID for that's a member, that sort of thing. And then to tie everything together, basically, we have expenses. Remember, we have an expense tracker. So now, an example can be everyone that stays with me. We can all track our expenses together if we are part of the same group. So, like, if we all live under house 3 or 4, and we all need to pay rent, we all need to pay water and electricity, guess what? We can now have grouped expenses. And I can say I've paid 200 Rand for my rent this month, and it will be like a grouped expense. So essentially, that's what's happening here. It's basically just that the whole relation between a group, a user, a member, that sort of thing. So, yeah. Great stuff. So now we actually looking at an example of how this is actually going to work. So I'm going to run you guys through the backend. For now, I've just implemented the APIs so that we can walk through how it works, what is like the functionality looking like, and then the next upload will be like a pretty nicely kind of designed page for you guys to actually add your friends and add your housemates and stuff like that. Cool. So first things first is remember our expense tracker. We need to sign in, right? So what I'll do is let me sign in as housemate number one. I've got the details here already. Um, let me let me send my. So this is a user housemate number one. So think of this housemate number one as like the owner of the group because we're going to initiate the group and we're going to add group invites and we're going to have group members. So housemate one is basically like our admin or the first person. So to create a group, I'm going to just go to create group. There's an endpoint I have here. I'm going to just call it home. What's it? Out weekend away, weekend away, Airbnb. Yeah, weekend away Airbnb. That's the name of our group. I can just say friends. So we're creating a group chat. We're going to be away for a weekend, and we need to essentially manage our expenses together. So that's the name of the group. I'm going to create it. Um, but before I do, I need to just copy this token because I need the token because I need to be authenticated before I can actually create a group, right? So, and there is videos about me explaining this. So I can put the video in the description as well. So let me just go here, make sure. Cool. So the name of this group is called Weekend Away. Let me send the request, and then we should have a group created. So we've created a group. Um, the group ID is called 3. Don't stress too much about that. That's just the ID name for the group. So what I'll do now is after I've created a group, I need to invite. I need to invite members. I want to say, okay, cool. Let me add different users to the group. So let me take my token again and say, okay, cool. Let's invite to the group. And now I just have to make sure that I actually use ID group 3 because that's the new one for the Airbnb weekend away. So, who are the people that I want to invite? I can say, let me sorry for the names, they're not the most descriptive. Housemate 4. Housemate 4 will be a member. So, let me send an invite out to them. Sorry, I didn't paste my token in. Okay. So, what this happens is I've sent an invite out to housemate number 4 to be part of our Airbnb group. So, and right now this is a manual process, but ideally what would happen is maybe an email goes out to housemate number 4, right? And then housemate number 4 receives the mail. They can click on the mail, then they get to accept the invitation, or they get to be redirected to like a website where they can put in their details, whatever. So this is just like a fake example, but they'll take the link and then they would have to accept the invitation. So how they would do that here is they need to put in their token here. Again, this would kind of happen by them clicking on a link. So yeah, don't stress too much about this. And again, I need to get, excuse me, to get my actual token. And then let me go here. And then you will see successfully join the group. So I've added housemate number 3 to the group. So let me just see. Now we have basically we've got an invite and we've got a group that we created, but we don't have members until they've actually accepted. Well, now they've actually accepted, so they become a member technically, right? So now they need to sign into the system. Um, but before they sign in, let me actually create an expense as the admin. Let me say like this is the initial cost, before they come to my house, before they come over. Maybe I've spent already 200 rand on electricity, right? I want it to be a shared expense. So what I'll do is I'll come to create expenses here, and then let me put in my token again. Let me go to here, and then let me say electricity. I can say electricity for Airbnb. So again, practical example is I'm the first person at the home, um, and no one is there yet. So I've basically spent a bit of money, but they need to see how much I've spent so that we can share, appropriately. That's the word. So I will send this request. So group three is basically just saying, okay, that's the group. What happens here is, again, I've basically logged a group expense for everyone, right? So remember, I've sent out an invite to housemate number three. So if we go back here and we just check the email. Oh, sorry, it was housemate number four. Sorry, housemate number four. Um, so now, housemate number four needs to actually log in, or let me say, like, register, because there's a chance that housemate number four is not a user on the platform, right? So the way I've built it now is they need to sign up. They need to sign up because I'm assuming that they are an external user, right? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to come here, and then I'm going to basically do this. Housemate number four. Okay, housemate number four, they've received an invite. So they know they're coming to this weekend away. They don't have details, so they need to sign up. So they're signing up, and I'm just going to call this person housemate number four. So housemate number four, they register, and then they will get a token as well. So let me just take this token. And then what I'm going to do now is let me log in as housemate number four. Maybe I can go to the get expenses page. I've just like registered as housemate number four. I know I'm coming to the Airbnb. I got a link from a friend, and now I'm logged into the platform. Now I want to see the expenses from our groups. So let me send this through. There we go. So remember, we are housemate number four. So we've logged in actually now, and we can actually see electricity for Airbnb is 500 Rand. We didn't create that. The person that sent us the invite, they were the ones that actually logged this detail. So you can imagine a real world example of this again is you coming in, you can easily see who's contributed what, how much they spent, and you can also add your own expenses. So now that we logged in as housemate number four, right? Let's say you're the second person that arrived, and maybe you've now spent money for fuel. So what that is you can go here to create expense, and then you can say petrol. We call it petrol in South Africa. Petrol for travel. I don't know, travel, and then let me say $1,000, right? So that's my expense as housemate number four. Let me send this through. Did I put in my details? Let me go here. Just make sure this is correct. Um, we are part of the same group though. It's probably go to. Anyways, it's fine. Um, Trade expense. Okay, cool. Petrol is a 16. Shucks. Okay, let me just do this. Trade expense. Let me say petrol to house, just so that we can distinguish. Okay, so we have added at least two extra petrol entries, right? So there's a chance that the one went to the previous user because I didn't update the token, or maybe just logged me in as well. So we'll find out. But we know that we've created an expense either way for the same group. So we're basically still going to have a grouped expense regardless of who the user was because of that ID thing that I had. So it's okay. So what I'll do now is let me go back to expenses, and what we should see here is we should see electricity for Airbnb by the user that invited us, plus we should see either our two. We should see our two, honestly speaking. Let me do this. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So as you can see here, the petrol is actually logged by this first user because I didn't update it, unfortunately. But remember, we're still part of the same group. Think of this as the first user basically is the one that initially also paid petrol either way, and then the second user or user number 4 came, and then now we are both there. You spend petrol and you spend $200 for 500 for electricity, and I also came with my own car with my own fuel as well. That can be an example of what this happens here. But the cool thing now is we can actually see that our expenses are grouped. So guess what? If we invite another user to the platform, they're also going to be part of it as well, which is pretty cool. So this is an example of how it actually works. So nothing too intense, but it's pretty cool because this allows you to share. You can share your expenses with someone. So this is just like an example of how it works, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed it. The next part would basically be us building like a UI or just building like an interface for you to see actually how it looks like. So I'm pretty excited. I thought this was pretty cool, and yeah.